that is kind of how I would approach listings for your business. One, claim them all. And then two, pick the ones you're going to focus on. Pull those aside and say, okay, I'm going to be consistent here. And then the other ones, I'm just going to monitor and make sure that the information is up to date and I'm responding to reviews. Hey, and welcome back to Builder Funnel TV. I'm Spencer Powell, and in this video, we're going to talk all about listings. Basically, why you should list your business in these different places, and then which listings should you be focused on. Before we get into that though, just a reminder, if you're not a member of Builder Funnel Academy, you can actually join and try that absolutely free. We've got a link below where you can get access to a 14-day trial, and we walk you through every single step of our process, start to finish, in terms of how to approach marketing from a strategy perspective. And then there's tons of templates, tools, and tactics to kind of give you the shortcut so that you can actually put it into action, because you can learn anything in the world, but if you don't actually do it, then nothing happens. So with that, let's dive into listings. And this is basically, think of like Google and your listing there in the map profile, or even having a Facebook profile or a Yelp profile. So those are what's called as basically a listing or an online listing. And what you can do is basically go to these listings and claim your listing. So that basically says, hey, I'm a verified business, I'm the owner of that business, and I'm confirming that this information is correct. So that's going to be things like the name of your business spelled correctly and the same way across all the listings, your phone number, your address, and again, they should all be capitalized the same way in terms of, the letters, and that you should have the exact same name. So if you're, Spencer's Remodeling LLC, then that's how it should be everywhere. Or if it's just Spencer's Remodeling and there's no LLC, make sure it's consistent across those listings. But that is what the listing is. And these sites love when you claim your listing, because they can verify that you're actually the owner. It typically will mean that you'll show up better in whatever their algorithm looks like. So whether that's Yelp or Houzz or Angie's List or Google, they like when you claim it and they know who the owner is. So the next piece is that you want to make sure you're consistent across all those listings. So with that being said, those listings will help you in terms of SEO value. So Google likes when they can see your listing on Google is the same as listings all these other places. It basically helps them verify, yes, this is a legitimate business, and I can see that the information is correct because it's the same across these 5 listings or these 10 listings. And basically the more listings they can see, they're like, okay, yep, this is a real business. That's good news in their eyes, because then they know, hey, if we're ranking this business versus this other business that maybe has one listing and it's partially filled out and it's not claimed, it doesn't look as legitimate. So we want to do anything we can to control what we're telling Google in terms of ranking ability. The other thing is, it's just more free exposure somewhere else. Maybe somebody likes to use Yelp to look up everything. I only use Yelp for restaurants, but somebody might use Yelp to look up a remodeling or contracting business. And so if you are listed on that platform, then somebody can find you there. So this begs the question, how many listings should I put myself on? How many should I claim? And then how many should I actually focus on? And that's really the most important question. So I'm going to give you a list of all the listings that you should go out and claim, and I'll just put a star by this and say, hey, new platforms are always being created, so keep your eye on this and things could change. But right now, this will be a good list and a good starting point in terms of what to claim. So there's Google, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's LinkedIn, there's Houzz, and then we've also got Yelp, BuildZoom, HomeAdvisor, Angie's List, Nextdoor, and Guild Quality. So that's a good list to start with. Make sure you go to those platforms, those profiles. If you don't see a profile there already created for yourself, go ahead and create one. If there's one already there, you'll just want to claim it and then update the information. Typically, that's going to be name, address, and phone. So that's NAP. That's something that Google looks at. And then add some photos and fill out the profile, whatever those profiles ask for. You basically want them to be complete and full. So once you've done that, then the big question becomes, okay, where do I focus? Because I can't be spending all this time on these 13 or 15 platforms or whatever it is. So we recommend that you claim them all and then focus on a few. And those are mainly going to be Facebook, Instagram, Google My Business, and Houzz. Now, those are just kind of a blanket general statement like, yes, I think everybody should pretty much be on those platforms, staying active, posting regularly, and working on reviews, especially as it pertains to Google, and then Google and Facebook if you've got enough people that you can get reviews. If you can only prioritize one, I would say Google. But those platforms are going to be great to focus on in terms of posting and consistency. The other ones are a bonus if you can spend the time there. But to be honest, they're not going to move the needle that much. There's always a star next to that as well. I talked to somebody in San Francisco, that's where Yelp started, and they said everybody uses Yelp there. So if that's the case, of course, I want you to use Yelp and you're going to prioritize that. So you need to know a little bit about your market and what platforms people use in your area. But I would say generally, those are the few platforms that everybody uses across the board. It's going to be Google, Facebook, Instagram, and Houzz. Depending on your goals, you might add in LinkedIn. Maybe you work with a lot of architects and designers and kind of trade partners. LinkedIn is a great place to network and connect with them. So that might be something that you add into the mix. But generally, I would say pick your focus on what you're actually going to post to consistently, and then just claim the rest. And then the last piece that I'll leave you with is it's good to monitor these platforms. So you're going to be active in those 4 or 5. Great, you'll be looking at those platforms, you'll see if there's a negative review and you can respond to it. You'll see if there's anything that looks off. But then the other ones, you might want to check in every couple of weeks or once a month and just look for positive reviews or negative reviews and respond to all of them. Somebody leaves a great review, you want to thank them for it. If they leave a negative review, obviously you want to address that and try to take the conversation offline so you can solve it, and maybe you can even turn that into a positive review in the future. So that is kind of how I would approach listings for your business. 1, claim them all, and then 2, pick the ones you're going to focus on. Pull those aside and say, okay, I'm going to be consistent here, and then the other ones I'm just going to monitor and make sure that the information is up to date and I'm responding to reviews. All right, guys, with that, we'll see you next time here on Builder Funnel TV.